Hi, my name is Shonda Jones, Washonda Jones, and I'm an instructor here at UMA. I've been with UMA for 7 years, and I've been teaching MBC courses since I've been with UMA. Today, we will discuss word parts dealing with the endocrine system for the course ME1160. So we'll be looking at word parts for the endocrine system and also the structure of the words for your endocrine system. We're going to first just do an overview of word parts. Understanding word parts and how they work together to form medical terms will reinforce your word building skills. Most word parts in medical terminology are of Latin origin. Others are of Greek origin or other languages. So for a brief overview, we know that we have 4 types of word parts. We have the word root, combining forms. We also have a suffix, and then we have our prefixes. When you combine those word parts, you can form medical terms or medical terminology that we use in our everyday work life. So what are word roots? They cannot stand alone. They have a basic meaning of the word. They usually describe the part of the body that is involved. Suffixes are placed at the end of the word root, and prefixes are placed at the beginning of the word root. We also have what we refer to as combining forms. They include a vowel, usually an O, added to the end of a word root. It aids in pronunciation. In the combining 2 word roots, a combining form is added to the first word root. Combining form is used at the end of the second word root if the suffix begins with a vowel. With suffixes, again, they're added at the end of a word to complete the term. They may indicate a procedure, a condition, a disorder, or a disease. Prefixes are added at the beginning of the word, usually to indicate location, time, or number. An example of this, when we refer to prenatal, that's before birth. So you see on the diagram, we can put those words together, prenate, L. So pre means before, nate, birth, and L is pertaining to. So let's take a look at some combining forms for the endocrine system. You'll see in the first column, those are structures or organs of the endocrine system. And then below that or beside that, you'll see the combining forms. So for adrenal, you see adreno, gonads or gonads. For the male testicles, it's testicle, and the ovaries, ovary. You see the pancreatic islets is pancreas, the parathyroid glands, parathyroidal, pineal glands, pineal, pituitary gland, and then the thymus, and then your thyroid gland. So these are all structures of your endocrine system, and you can see out beside it, it lists the combining forms. So let's look at the functions of the endocrine system in relation to your terminology. The endocrine system produces hormones that work together to maintain homeostasis for the body. Hormones are just chemical messengers secreted by the endocrine glands directly into the bloodstream, reaching target cells and organs. They help regulate activities of specific cells and organs. Your endocrine glands produce hormones, and they are ductless. You see there the endo means within, crine means secrete. So that is for your endocrine system and also your endocrine glands. You have 13 major glands. You have 1 pituitary, 1 pineal, 1 thyroid gland, 4 parathyroid glands, 1 thymus, 1 pancreas, 2 adrenal glands, and 2 gonads. Let's look at your pituitary gland. It's located on your hypothalamus in the brain. You have 2 divisions of your pituitary gland. You have an anterior lobe and a posterior lobe. The pituitary gland secretes hormones controlling the activity of other endocrine glands. It also responds to stimuli from neurohormones to maintain appropriate levels of hormones. Secretions of your pituitary gland. You have 2. You have your adrenocorticotropic hormone, abbreviated ACTH, and this stimulates growth, secretions of the adrenal cortex. And you see here they did break this word down for you. Adreno means adrenal, cortic means cortex, and tropic means change. You see your next hormone that secretes is the follicle stimulating hormone, abbreviated FSH. And this hormone stimulates secretion of estrogen and growth of your ova in your ovaries of females, and also stimulates production of sperm in the testicles of males. 2 other hormones, your growth hormone. This regulates growth of bone, muscle, and other body tissues. It's also known as the somatotropic hormone, and you see there somat or somot means body. And then you have your lactogenic hormone, and this stimulates and maintains secretion of breast milk in the mother after childbirth. And they also break this term down for you. You see lacto means milk and gen means producing. Next, we have 3 other hormones. The luteinizing hormone. This stimulates ovulation in females and stimulates secretion of testosterone in males. And then you have your melanocyte stimulating hormone. This increases production of melanin, causing darkening in the skin. And then you have your thyroid stimulating hormone. This stimulates secretion of hormones by the thyroid. And then we have our antidiuretic hormone. This is secreted by the hypothalamus and stored in the pituitary gland. It helps control blood pressure by reducing the amount of water excreted through your kidneys. So you see there you have the anti, and this prefix is generally means against or opposite. And then diu or diuretic promotes the removal from the body of excess water, salts, poisons, and accumulated metabolic products such as urea. The next hormone is oxytocin. This stimulates uterine contractions during childbirth, controls postnatal hemorrhage, stimulates flow of milk from the mammary glands. And you see there, they broke it down for you. Oxy means swift, and toxin is labor. Next, let's look at the pineal gland. It's located in the central portion of your brain. The functions and secretions, its secretions influence sleep-wakefulness cycle, also called circadian cycle, and it secretes melatonin, which is the hormone responsible for this cycle. Next, we have our thyroid gland. It lies on either side of your larynx, just below the thyroid cartilage. The function of it is to regulate body metabolism, and it influences growth and functioning of the nervous system. The secretions of the thyroid gland, you have 2 primary hormones that regulate metabolic rate and affect growth and rate of function of many body systems. Thyroxine, T4, and triiodothyronine, T3. is for the rate of secretion controlled by your TSH produced by the anterior lobe of the pituitary gland. Another secretion is calcitonin. This works with your parathyroid hormone to decrease calcium levels in the blood and tissues by moving calcium into storage in your bones and teeth. So let's look at those parathyroid glands. You have 4 glands which are embedded in the posterior surface of the thyroid gland. The function is to regulate calcium levels. The secretions are parathyroid hormone, and it works with the calcitonin to regulate calcium levels in the blood and tissues. We next have the thymus, and it's located near the midline in the anterior portion of your thoracic cavity, posterior to your sternum and superior to the heart. The function of the thymus, it helps to develop your immune system before birth and in childhood. Also, its reduced function occurs after puberty as it turns into fatty tissue. Secretions from the thymus, your thymosin, which stimulates maturation of your lymphocytes into T cells. Next, let's look at the pancreas. The pancreas functions as part of your digestive system as well as your endocrine system. You have pancreatic islets, and they have the endocrine function. The function of the pancreatic islets is to control blood glucose levels and glucose metabolism throughout the body. Secretions of the pancreatic islets is glucose, and this is the basic form of energy used by the body. Also, you have glucagon, which is a hormone secreted by alpha cells in response to the low levels of blood glucose. It also increases glucose level by stimulating the liver to convert glycogen into glucose to be released into the bloodstream. There's also insulin. This hormone is secreted by beta cells in response to the high levels of blood glucose. It allows glucose to enter the cells to be used as energy. It also stimulates your liver to convert glucose into glycogen for storage when additional glucose is not needed. We next have your adrenal glands, and they're located on the top of each kidney. The outer portion is known as the adrenal cortex. The inner portion is known as the adrenal medulla. You see on this diagram how the adrenal gland sits on top of the kidneys. You also see the middle layer known as the adrenal medulla, and then the outer layer known as the adrenal cortex. Functions of your adrenal glands: it controls your electrolyte levels within the body. It also helps to regulate metabolism and interaction with your sympathetic nervous system in response to stress. Secretions of the adrenal medulla are epinephrine and norepinephrine. Epinephrine stimulates sympathetic nervous system in response to physical injury or mental stress. Norepinephrine is released as a hormone by the adrenal medulla and as a neurohormone by the sympathetic nervous system. We next have your gonads. Your gamete are the producing glands. They are known as ovaries in females and testicles in males. The gamete are your reproductive cells. Functions of your gonads: they secrete hormones responsible for development and maintenance of the secondary sex characteristics that develop during puberty. And puberty is the physical changes by which a child's body becomes adult body capable of reproducing. Secretions of the gonads, you have estrogen. This is secreted by your ovaries. It's important in development and maintenance of female secondary sex characteristics and in regulation of your menstrual cycle. Progesterone is released during the second half of the menstrual cycle. Gonadotropin is any hormone that stimulates the gonads. Androgens, primary testosterone secreted by gonads, adrenal cortex, and fat cells. It promotes development and maintenance of male sex characteristics. Testosterone is a steroid hormone secreted by the testicles and adrenal cortex. It stimulates development of male secondary sex characteristics. Estrogen and testosterone are present in males and females, but in different amounts depending on the gender. There are also specialized types of hormones having different chemical structures or are not secreted by the endocrine gland directly into the bloodstream. Steroids, secreted by endocrine glands or artificially produced as medications to relieve swelling and inflammation. Anabolic steroids, man-made substances chemically related to male sex hormones, used to treat hormone imbalance in men and to help the body replace muscle mass caused by disease. They may be used illegally by athletes to build muscle mass. There are hormones secreted by fat cells, and these are leptin and ghrelin. Leptin promotes hormone involved in the regulation of appetite, and it acts on the hypothalamus to suppress appetite and burn fat stored in adipose tissue. Ghrelin, produced in your GI tract and is referred to as your hunger hormone. Neurohormones are produced and released by neurons in the brain and delivered to various organs and tissues throughout the bloodstream. Medical specialists related to the endocrine system, you have an endocrinologist who specializes in diagnosing and treating diseases and malfunctions of the endocrine system. You also have a certified diabetes educator. This person is qualified to teach people with diabetes to manage their diseases. This concludes our Part 1 discussion on the endocrine system. In our next video, we'll start with the pathology of the endocrine system. Thank you.